scooch over so you can see little Audrey. Hello and welcome to Heather and Hops. My name is Katt and I'm a knitter based in Hertfordshire in the United Kingdom. If you're new here, this is my little space where I have documented my knitting journey from Project 1 through to now, where we have cultivated a kind of fibre community. And yeah, like I said, my name is Katt. This is little Audrey. Hey sweetheart. I thought it would be nice to move today and sit next to her. She's been sat on my jumper all morning. This is the Varpoo, which is I can't remember who it's by, but I'll pop a picture up and a link. And it was yarn that Alex dyed. Alex is my husband. If you're new here, you'll know him probably if you've been here for a while. He dyed naturally for me, and I put the colours together, and currently it's Audrey's. So I am sipping on I haven't sipped on it yet, but I have a cup of tea this morning. It's really dark, as you might be able to tell. I've got some lights on to really try and help. It's really dark. And I just wanted a nice cup of tea this morning, something gentle, comforting, and what have you seen? Yeah, that, you know, makes me feel happy inside. And this was tea blended by Alex. So yeah, I hope you have something to enjoy to drink, whether it's water or another beverage of choice. And we'll talk about some knitting. I guess I should probably mention what I'm wearing. This is the Braids of Grass, which is a pattern by Höner, who used to go as LB Hand Knits. It was such a fun pattern to knit. I really enjoyed it. I would actually be very glad to knit it again. I definitely don't need another one. But this is the Shropshire DK by Ply, which I absolutely love. The colour is wonderful. It was called Middle Earth. It's no longer available from what I understand, but they might get another batch in at some point in the future. But I love this base. It's very sheepy, very lofty, and I really enjoyed knitting it. It has the same details on the hem as well as on the cuffs. I've just pushed these up because it was really cold, and now I'm starting to get a bit warm. I'm all embarrassed now I'm talking to you. I'm joking, I'm not really embarrassed because I'm talking to myself right now, but I'm actually talking to you, which is really hard for me to comprehend. But while I'm still waffling, I will talk more knitting, I promise. It's been interesting the last few weeks. Where we went to the yarn festival, I really realised how much this is a two-way conversation and builds connections. In the past, if I meet people, I tend to totally sit back, especially if I'm in a group, and just watch conversations happen and kind of find where I fit in. Whereas, because of sitting here chatting with you, when we meet in real life, which I've had the absolute pleasure of doing recently, it's not just me talking, it's two-way conversation, and immediately, even if the other person's maybe feeling a little bit anxious, or, you know, we're a bit flustered, there's still a proper conversation, and it feels so good. I can't even express my gratitude and how cool it is. Yes, I won't talk much more about that, but all that to say, it's amazing what this is doing. So if you are here and you've, you know, met another fibre friend in real life through this or through another platform, I just think it's wicked. Waffle. I'm also wearing an improvised hat. This is knitted using Nutiden and a drops alpaca silk that I held together, and this one was going to be for Alex because I have this one here that happens to be on the side. This is just Nutiden held double. But I put this one on. I'm not sure why, but we've got a hat drawer, and I raided the hat drawer this morning. Might be a waffly number today. I haven't sat down and spoken to you in ages, but in fact it's only been a week I sat down with Alex last week to talk about the Southern Wool Festival, which was really fun, where again I got to meet some fibre friends in real life, which was really amazing. I might be wild, I've just balanced my tea on the arm of the sofa. So let's talk finished objects. I think I've got a few more projects to share with you that I'm going to wait until next week, because otherwise this might be a really long episode. And I might see if Alex wants to join in a little bit, because a couple of the items are to do with him. Let's do these quickly. These I'll share because I can now share the full thing, because lovely Hannah of the Corner of Craft has released her Christmas Eve cast on boxes, and this is the sock yarn and pattern that's included. It might not focus, yes it will. So I won't go into too much detail, I think Hannah's covered it beautifully. You get a main colour and a contrast colour, and it's this gorgeous kind of speckled yarn, and the chart is a Christmas tree with a D20 shape, and you will get different options for the cuff. It has an umbrella toe, there we go, and a short row heel, which of course you can omit and change, and they're toe up because that's now kind of my preference. That's how I've written it. I think you could probably work it cuff down, but I just find it easier to try on as you go, etc, etc. So that's those. Hannah's kits have sold out, the Christmas Eve boxes, but she does still have some just sock and pattern sets that she's popped in the shop, just in case anyone would like some D&D Christmas Eve knitting. Yeah. Ha! So there are finished objects that I haven't fully had the opportunity to share. The idea as well with the pattern is that the cast on and everything up until the design is quite simple, so that, you know, while you're still surrounded by friends and family, or, you know, you've got less mindful knitting. It can still be very mindful doing stockinette, but you know what I'm saying. You don't have to quite focus and, you know. So hopefully in the new year, when it's a bit quieter for you, or you've got some time, you can spend time with something slightly more intricate. She's so sweet. I really missed her whilst we were away. More than I can express, and I'm sure Alex can attest to. I have two more objects that I finished, which I'm surprised at, because I did a lot more spinning, or it feels like I did a lot more spinning over the last week than I have done anything else. So I'll show you this one first, because this was the first one I finished. So this is a cowl. I knitted it using my first ever finished, like, coloured hand spun. This is Shunklies Fibre, and it was the, I can't remember the colourway that it was called, but it was the Höner base. Really fun to see the colours change. I didn't do anything other than just spin, and then divided it into two, which was a kind of silly idea I've learnt. I could have done a double pull ball and plied it from there. So it's a 2-ply. And then this is Drops Puna? I can never remember. It's 100% alpaca. I'll put the name on the screen. And yeah, I just had a little swatch. I played with some stitches. If you don't know, I really do enjoy texture. I love knitting colour work. That's probably my favourite thing to knit. But I really enjoyed texture, so I thought I would kind of combine the two. After I think I did like six little mini swatches that I pulled back because I'm a heathen, I came up with this, and I'm really happy with it. Shall I try and put it on? I'll put it on. I'm happy with the fit. This is the second item that I was thinking, oh, I might gift it, but I really like it. I really like it, and it fits me like so snugly. I'll be able to roll it down, I'll be able to pull it up. But yeah, I can't decide. I feel like I want it for me, but these kind of projects are so like special that I also feel like it'd be nice to share. So very simple. I did my swatch. That allowed me to know what needle I was going to use, because I did swatch with 2 needles. I think I did a 4mm and a 3.75, and light to the 3.75 because it was just a bit denser, and I thought that might help the alpaca not be too drapey. I thought the hand spun was going to give a bit of structure, and it has, but like, you can see the end. This is ribbing and but this has got a bit more. And then I from previous experience kind of knew how many inches I wanted it, so I multiplied it, made sure it matched the stitch pattern, and yeah, that's it. It was just a tube, but it was really enjoyable to knit. The texture was really moorish, and seeing the colours change was also very, very enjoyable. But as soon as I finished this, and because it was so quick, all my other projects kind of didn't get pushed aside, but I was enjoying it so much that I think I knit this in like 3 evenings. I thought I would cast on a hat. So here is another finished object using the same skein of hand spun. I think I got 93 grams. I can't remember the yardage, but I will try and put it on Ravelry. I think I might have done. But this is all I have left. I've really gone to town on using up all of the yarn. You have to excuse it. Such is the life of a knitter. My hair, Audrey's hair, Alex's hair is now everywhere. So I did pretty good. I was tempted to use this for a pom-pom, but I'm not sure it needs one. And this was a very special skein to me. This was from Strathearn Fleece and Fibre up in Perthshire, and I got the pleasure of sitting down and chatting with Linda before I purchased this. I think there's a video on this channel somewhere, but it's around, it's in the ether. And I had intended on using this for my spiritual guardian cow, but I don't know, it just felt like it needed to be in something even more special, if that makes sense. Not that the cow is not special, but I wanted it to just be something its own. So I decided to knit a hat. And because I already had a rough idea of knitting with DK, it is definitely different. It's different. It's a different kind of DK. It does feel different. It's not obviously got as much drape. It's not alpaca. It's 100% wool. I did email Linda a while back to ask her what it was, but I can't remember. But she did hand dye it herself. But I knew again what the gauge would be, so I could get the right size, and I'm really chuffed with it. I actually, again, I'm looking at it now, I wanted to give this one away, but again, I really like it. I don't know if it's really the most me, but I really like it. It feels really nice. I did a double folded brim. The hand spun feels really nice on the head. Yeah, improvised hats are probably one of my favourites because they're fairly easy to adjust as you go. And like with this, you can really use as much or as little as you want. I knew that it would be maybe cutting it fine to try and do the decreases with this much, but I really wanted to make sure I had this, I can't remember the depth, but I'd set the depth that I wanted here. So I didn't want to risk it, and yeah, really chuffed. 2 items from one sort of skein of hand spun, so yeah, really happy. I couldn't gush about them more. I'll try not to, but and I really enjoy how different the yarn looks interacting with different colours. This one being so similar and this one being quite a high contrast. So yeah, really happy. And yeah, this one hasn't actually been washed. This one was washed, but I think it's surprisingly neat for an unblocked item. What do you think, little Audrey? So this is a dodgy bag that I made. I've made a few for gifts recently, and this is just one that, although I really like it, it's squiffy and wonky, so it was definitely not to be passed on. And living in here is my interchangeable mitten liners, which I'm knitting using this gorgeous yarn from Forage and Sow Dyeworks, and it's a Romney Merino fingering weight yarn dyed in Hudson Valley, and it's non-superwash, dyed with indigo, which just makes my heart sing. So yes, I didn't anticipate getting much done because I'd knitted the hat and cowl, but I'm finished apart from the thumbs. So these will probably be done next week. And I don't really have very much to report. I enjoyed knitting on them. It was very simple, very easy, relaxing knit, as relaxing as socks. So if you're a sock knitter and you want to mix it up, mittens that are, well, mitten liners are quite a good way to go. They fit really nicely. They're snug, which was what I was hoping for, because I'd like to be able to wear them as mitten liners. There you go. And they do come down a lot further than my mittens and my fingerless mitts, so they might actually be really, really useful. I might find that they're not, we don't know yet, but I feel like they will. They'll kind of keep me even warmer and will stop the wet getting in, which is quite apt since it's chucking it down again today. Hopefully if you can hear it, it's relaxing, and if you can't, that's probably also good. But yeah, I think that's definitely not where I was. I think I wasn't even at the thumb last time we spoke, but this is a stitch marker by Wool & Witch. That is, I don't know why, maybe it was to mark where I started the decreases. But yeah, so these will take no time at all to finish and put in the bath to soak, or the sink because they're tiny. But maybe I'll do that this evening. Yeah, really like the feel of this yarn. The combination of Romney and Merino is something I could definitely get behind. I really enjoy that it's a little bit slubby. I've said this before, that's I want to say a trait, but it's not really a trait. Yeah, maybe it is. That's a part of yarn that like, an aspect of yarn that I can really enjoy. It keeps me engaged with it somehow, just watching the little slubs just pop out, and they're not much, and I think some of it will just fall off or gleam off as they're worn or felt in. But yeah, really happy with these. The pattern is by Emily Foden in the Knits About Winter book, which was released with Pom Pom. And yeah, I might knit the mittens that Emily's made to go with these, so that Alex can have my Evia mittens, which I do really love actually, but they fit him probably a bit better than they fit me. I have really long hands and really narrow hands, so it seems like these ones fit me really well, so I think maybe Emily's patterns are good for my gangly fingers and narrow hands. Are we doing alright today, Audrey? Hopefully, if you've been here for a while, you'll know that that is... I'm just going to hit pause because I've been waffling. This project, I don't have much to say at all, as you'll see. It's not... we're not very far in, but I want to share it with you because I've been talking about it a little bit. And look at this huge, huge bit of knitting. But I did cast this on with the intention of knitting on it whilst we were away, but as you can see I got a little bit sidetracked, and I'll show you one of the finished projects that I did next week, and that is the tie for Alex, but I don't have it here right now. But this is the start of the collar for the Tolk cardigan, which is also by the designer of this lovely pattern, Höner. I actually have a printed version of the pattern here, so I'll find the page. There you go. Here we go. There you go. So this is the Tolk. It is a very simple, beautiful, like the shaping on the shoulders in particular looks lovely. But it's a very simple cardigan, which is just what my wardrobe has been after. And it's almost black, very simple cardigan. And so I will be knitting it, or have started knitting it, in Plotulopi by Istex. And this is the black heather colourway, which just happens to be one of my favourites. Bit sheepy, and it's unspun yarn, so it is no spin in it. And yeah, so I don't really have very much to report back. Personally, I really enjoy the way that Höner writes the patterns. This in particular can be used with a DK or Aran weight, so I feel like this is going to be perfect. It's going to be quite warm, but I figured by having the unspun it will add warmth, but it will still be quite light as a finished garment. And yeah, like I said, nothing to really report. I don't have buttons yet. As you can see, she uses quite a few buttons, but that's something that I'll be pondering over the next few weeks. So if you do know anyone in particular that does buttons, I'd love to hear. I know that the lovely, I can't remember, is her name Ruth, of Lily White, does gorgeous driftwood buttons that I might consider getting again. If not, I might also just pop to the charity shops now. They're a bit more accessible and easier. I might see if I can just get myself a button jar. I know that one of our locals often has jars of buttons, and I think that might be fun too, to, you know. But yes, and this gorgeous project bag is by Maggie of the Sonder Knitting and Reading podcast, which, if you've not checked Maggie out, please do. She's got such a good energy, and as you can see, is a very talented maker. Yes. That rain is really nice. So I do have one more thing that I would like to share, and this one's really special. It's living in this other beautiful bag that was made for me by NatsknitsCrafts, who I believe is currently on a break, and every time I share her bags people ask, but yeah, I think maybe she'll make bags again, but they're beautiful and I use mine frequently. Let's put this on mute. I'm a naughty girl. But phone is back on mute. So I I'm halfway through a row, and for a very good reason actually today. It's not often that it's for a very good reason, but I have been tangled up. No, I've been working on a shawl to replace my grain shawl because that shawl really should be gifted. It's perfect, I love the shawl, but it belongs to someone else in my heart. You know when you make something, maybe you've worn it, put a bit of love in it, and you just know that. So I'm going to pass that forward, but I wanted to replace it, and I wanted to replace it with something equally as special because the grain had a couple of my excess yarns from my first ever jumper that I knitted. It had some beautiful yarn from Kate Davies, who inspired me to knit. So I feel like if it was going to be replaced, it needed to be something with equally as special, and equally as special things came into my life. So this is where I'm at with my shawl. This brown is gorgeous. This was Hebridean, which was hand spun for me, which is so amazing, by Paton and Daughter. Absolutely stunning. It was carded 4 times and it smells so good. And then recently, a very, very kind viewer, hi B, said that she's kind of not getting through her hand spun as quick as she can spin it, and offered me some, and I kind of, are you sure? Panicked and said, yes please, that would be amazing, because this was the project that was on my needles as I read the email. So yeah, this is some hand spun by the lovely Bee, and I don't know, I'm really, really happy with this. But what I ended up doing is knitting a cable along laterally as if I was doing a plied border, and I'm hoping to pick up stitches after it and keep adding to it. I've just turned the corner on the triangle, and then I'm going to carry on in this lovely grey with the cable pattern up the other side. So it's not the easiest thing to show you right now, but I'm really loving it. Bee even has, look at this gorgeous ball bands that she's put on. Come on. Okay, it doesn't want to, but it is 100% Devon swart balls. I'm going to say that wrong, but they're so beautiful. So I believe that this is John Arbon and this is John Arbon Fibre, and it's stunning. And Bee is an amazing spinner. It is so consistent but lofty and, like, look, perfectly balanced. This is what I strive to be in the future. But I'm really enjoying knitting on this, and honestly this is going to be one of the more special projects that I've ever knitted on. I hope that it will last forever, and this will probably be something that I just from the get-go know that I'm not going to pass forward, because it's for me. It has to be. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe my heart will go, no, this belongs to someone else once it gets going. But yes, I am absolutely loving knitting on this. I don't know, it just feels very connected and joyful and interesting too. I really enjoy working cables. I drive people a little bit spare. I don't like doing it without a cable needle. I really enjoy the process. It feels nice. I don't know why, because I often say that I don't like Magic Loop because it's stop-start, but for some reason this little cable is really nice to work with. So yeah, I've not got too many projects from patterns today, which is strange, but it has been quite nice to work on something that, you know, I can adjust as I go. It's not, there's a little bit of maths involved and a little bit of thinking, but it's relaxing and freeing. It's, you know, design as you go kind of thing. So we'll see what it looks like in the end. I think last time we chatted I did say like, oh, I don't know quite what I'm gonna do. That's where I'm at now. I don't know what will happen next, whether it will have a lacy border, maybe it will just be some more striping. We'll see. So yeah, I have some more spinning that I've been doing, but it's actually soaking, so I didn't really want to show you that. I've got projects for Alex that I want to share. We've got a little bit more yarn to share that Alex purchased while we were in Devon, but I didn't want to share it in case Alex has a moment to film with me. But also this week I'm just going to share at the end our trip to Rosemore Gardens, which is a Royal Horticultural Society gardens in Devon. I think it's in Torrington, but I think there's so much footage of that because it was such a lovely time that next week I'll show you a little bit more of something else that we did while we were in Devon, because you know, it's nice to add a little bit, but I think, you know, half an hour of additional might be a little bit much. Yeah, I'm very excited to be back. I clearly, again, I'm like, let's sit and chat for longer, but she's asleep. But it's Tuesday, so I'm filming this a day later than I usually would, so I'd like to get some editing done today. I think I've got 2 or 3 comments left to respond to over here. I think I'm up to date, which feels really nice because every comment, honestly, I sit down and read everything. Sometimes things get missed, especially responses. I don't know if there's a better way of getting notified when someone sends you a response onto a comment. But it feels really nice to actually have these conversations, like I said at the beginning. Like, it's definitely a two-way thing, and I feel very grateful, more than I could express, how sharing and putting myself out there has affected and changed my entire life. So that's a statement. So thank you for being here. Like I say, it really means a lot to me. With that, I'm going to say goodbye to you. I hope that you enjoy our little trip to Rosemore Gardens. It's such a treat to be able to take you with us, because we do get to like chat a little bit about, it'd be nice to share this when we're out and about. So thank you for coming along if you come along with us. I hope you enjoyed the little moments of calm and a little bit of nature. I hope that whatever you get up to this week, it does bring you some joy. I hope that if you are making, those bring you a lot of joy too. As always, it's lovely to hear from you what you are knitting or making, and yeah, look after yourselves, look after your loved ones, be excellent to each other. It's a phrase that I can never say ever enough, and don't forget to love each other. I hope to see you again very soon. Ready, sit. Ready, go. Bye.